the thing that I was saying is that this subject tends to be such a serious one. You know, when I talk to people about which way their path is, and I can understand it on a certain level because people are serious about wanting to do their service. They're serious about wanting to validate why they're here. You know, that's, especially with these changes that are going on. I know so many of you understand that there have been years of no validation for most of us. You know, we have the pleasure of having two men in the circumstances here, and so we can get that masculine point of view, which is interesting too, because they're the ones that are the dominant, but yet and still, when it comes to their service and their spirituality, they're just as confused and uninformed and unsupported as we as women are. So I'm happy that they're here and they have the opportunity to make comment. The first thing that I want you to do is just take a breath and relax. And I'd like to set the energy to accept and to welcome all of those beings who are moving with you, who have come forth into this circle this evening with you, so that they can support you and help you to ask questions or help you to understand information. So we're honoring the directions, the elements, our own individual guides and guardians, and particularly honoring ourselves right where we are right now. Now, with that calmness and that rootedness, allow me to ask, how many of you feel that you are actually moving or that you have actually stepped on your path, your service? Amazing, amazing, amazing. So why are you here? Why are you sitting here with me?
Support each other. Yeah, or like you said, just starting to, you know there's something more out there. You know that you have this drawing feeling towards you, but you yet haven't completely grasped the whole thing.
Right, right. How many of you feel that this mission that you've been brought here to fulfill is one directed, one thing? You come here to do one thing and that one thing only.
No.
Okay. Most of you are aware of the fact that you have been performing your mission already. Doesn't matter where you came from, what your path is. From the moment that you were born, you started walking your path. The consciousness, the awareness of what that means for you in the world may not have been there. But you have been walking your path. Because everything that, for those of you that are working on that path now, there was no one particular thing that got you there. Everything that you have experienced in life has brought you to who you are now, and being able to make these decisions and make have these understandings. So we might as well have fun with it. You know, let's not be so serious about, okay, this is my path and whatever. Let's have fun with it. I think that that's one of the things that I see missing when I read books about stepping into your power and finding your path. I don't see it mentioned too often that if it ain't fun, don't do it. You know, I think this is one thing that comes with higher levels of consciousness. Angels laugh. They laugh all the time. The goddesses laugh. They smile. They enjoy. And we are taking from that old line of thinking the Puritan ethic and all of that, that we've got to be serious and we've got to struggle in our service, or we're not being successful. Not true. The moment that you feel that you have found your path is the moment that you should be able to take off your shoes, put your little frilly dress on, and be a little girl, or allow a little guy, and allow that energy to come through. Because this is about enjoying your work. Gracias, señorita. Señorita. Okay. All right. Now, another word for your mission is your dharma. Dharma means living your life truthfully. It's not even speaking about service. It's about living your life truthfully. So basically, what we are looking to see is where we are in our integrity and where we are in our skills and our abilities. So, if you have started to look at your life from a truthful way, then you've actually consciously started on your path. Let's talk about truth. One of the things that I have been blessed to understand just recently is the fact that in all of the years that I was searching, looking for a place that would be conducive to what I wanted to experience, like to find a center to work from, or to find a teacher, or to find some space that I could just join with people and I could be fulfilled. And that never really happened. And one of the things that I was brought to understand was that that which you seek is that which you have the most to give. When you are looking for something outside of you, trying to find something out there, and looking desperately and not finding a niche, then that means that you're supposed to develop that niche. You know, that which you seek, that which you try to find a place so you can be comfortable, is that which you have the most to give. So instead of looking toward trying to see who you can join up with, which is good because we're all moving together. But a lot of times you don't find it. You don't find that special place to work, or you don't find that special group of people so much that embellishes your what you have to give. It's because you have it to give and you're supposed to present it yourself. That means something to you, doesn't it? What I just said. Yeah. It's like you're looking to find a way to be who you are. You got to make it. You start it. You do it. That kind of thing, you know? Because basically, your uniqueness is not just there for you. Your uniqueness is there in the service of others. So, let's get some dialogue going here. What do you think is the most difficult thing, or the most common challenge that you encountered when you started on your path in looking to work your miracles or to do your service? Yes, Sam.
I think for me, when I found where I needed to go and I made the commitment to go there, I realized that it was going to be a path for I was on. That it wasn't something that I could share with everybody, but that was okay. And I decided that I would accept that and that would be okay. But it was hard to realize that at the beginning, that I'm going to be alone in this. Because we all want to feel included in something. But it's been okay.
Good, good. Anybody relate to that? Like how?
Just people that you are in your life still, that you deal with every day. They don't understand the same, they almost laugh, mockingly laugh, or, they aren't connected like you yet, so they just don't, you can't have a common conversation about it.
Or maybe judgment of what you don't understand. So that's a common theme in a lot of areas of the world. But if you're on a spiritual path, you're, I don't know, if you have a specific thing, you can be very different, and it almost is like sticking out like a thumb in some ways, but in some ways otherwise accepted, or people are inquisitive.
Right. It is interesting about this thing about sticking out like a sore thumb, to put a little humor into it, We want to do something different. We want to fulfill our path, but then there's a question of loneliness, of being alone. And then there's that question of not being connected so that people understand what you're doing, people around you not understanding what you're doing, But what do we say about that? Forget them. We're here to do what we are here to do. So I want some questions, because I want us to get a lively dialogue here with regard to the question of path and the question of doing your service. What questions do you have?
I think I actually have one statement, and that is, when you are on your path or beginning, it's a matter of trusting and having faith that it will unfold, that you don't have to have the answers, and that the path doesn't have to be straight, that it will take you in and out, and you have to just trust the process, and trust yourself, and that you're being guided.
Right. Some of you who have not been walking on that path for a long time might find that to be your circumstances. Hello. Hi. How you doing, sweetie? So basically, let's take a little step into it from there. What can stop you? If you're talking to someone and you're telling them that you're on this path, but your biggest challenge, what can stop you? Fear? Family? Disapproval, yeah. Sex, tradition, sexism, money, religion.
Yeah. Because when you start realizing that you are spiritual and you've been here before in a different presence, and then when you have a religious background, like my brother said to me, oh, well, you can't be that religion, you can't be that and believe that too. And so, well, I believe in God, and that's the main thing, So, but yeah, definitely.
Anybody else? What do I have to do, get in a circle and pull off my clothes?
Well, that would be nice.
Let's talk about this. I don't want you guys know in my classes I like to discuss. I don't want to sit and lecture. I'm lecturing, it's like preaching to the choir. When I ask that first question, how many of you feel that you're already walking your path? Almost everybody raised their hand. So I'm not talking with neophytes, so I don't want to even act as if I could lecture to you. The way that then we should approach this is to talk about it and have some discussion with regard to getting responses and answers that can not only support ourselves and support those who are in here, but also you all, when you leave this class, you're going to go out into the world and you're going to share. I guarantee you that at least 5 of you tomorrow are going to have an opportunity, a discussion, a conversation is going to come forth, and you're going to have an opportunity to say, well, you know, I was in this class yesterday. I was sitting with these people yesterday, and this is what we talked about, so let me give you this information, let me share this with you. You know, I guarantee that. I hope I can talk to you all and see who that happens to. But I know that's going to happen. So you are on your path. Now let's stand strong in who we are. Let's talk about this.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
How do you, if you're working in the way you're working in a spiritual way, I want to be reminded, that's why I stayed for your class, to how to get to the next truth. Like, what is the next truth? You know, what is the next thing? It's almost like I forgot. Because you get in your comfort zone.
Right.
You get in your
Right.
groove.
Well, the one thing that you know, you stay in the present, and you take it a step at a time. Because what is your truth now might not be your truth next week. You all understand that? Truth is relevant. Integrity stays the same. Your integrity, how you stand in your integrity and stand in your life stays the same. But certain truths, certain things that we would consider as truth will change. You know. So you approach your who you are. It's like waking up in the morning and thinking, okay, I got another day to practice this stuff. You know, thank you. I have another day to put the light out there, to put the information out there, to put the support out there. I have another day to love myself because I'm such a bad mama jamma. You know, I am doing this work so beautifully and helping to shift. I mean, look at you. You people here are moving up against Goliath. You're moving up against a patriarchal system, the age of reason, where everything is done through the intellect. You're moving against that because that is certainly what needs to be altered so that you can do your work, because the work that you're doing coming from a spiritual level, the emotional body is the closest body to the spiritual bodies. You're working from your emotional body. This is about feeling now, you know, as a male. I mean, how much understanding were you given as you grew up about feeling things? Didn't have that support, especially as a man in this society. You don't feel, you reason it. But our work is based on feeling. Is anybody doubting me, or is there any debate on that? Our work is based on feeling. So the first thing we got to do is feel good within ourselves. You know, feel good within ourselves. So, is there anybody that is moving on this path that finds themselves at a stalemate? As my sister said here, have you come to a point where you find that maybe the truth that you've been working with? Yes, please.
This kind of goes with the blocking thing too, is that it doesn't always have to be the way that everybody says it should go. Like, I've had a lot of people tell me that I can't do what I want to do because I don't have the education. And I don't need the education because I have the education. Because I have it. It's already in me. I don't need to go to school to get it. And I think that's been really hard for my family, especially. My mom just keeps saying, you can't do it, you can't do it, you have to go to school, you have to go to school. I'm like, I've already been to school. I sleep like 12 hours a day. I'm in school 12 hours a day while I'm sleeping.
Right.
And you know, you can already have it in you.
Okay. See, here again is a circumstance, hello, welcome. Here again is a circumstance where family is causing a little hitch in the giddy-up as far as your path is concerned. And basically, your mother is moving from a place that she feels is her truth.
She sent me to private boarding school, and she's all about it.
Yeah, she wants the best for you. She doesn't understand the shift, the change. Well, I tell you, as a person who stopped and went back to school, as soon as I got that degree in my hand, I knew one thing for certain, that I didn't need no more grad school. You know, that was not the direction that I was going. But I paid thousands of dollars to come to a truth within myself that what I was in the direction that I personally was going didn't have anything to do with that. We utilize it because it is part of that, our living. But to say that if we don't have that degree or if we don't have that certain kind of particular knowledge, that we are inefficient or we would be ineffective? No. Would you share with us what your path is, what you're doing now?
Well, I haven't exactly started out. Actually, I have, because I work as a nanny. I've worked with a lot of special needs kids, and I work with a lot of the indigo children.
Wonderful.
And I want to work more with kids with autism. And one of the blocks that I've encountered is that I don't have quote unquote proper training to do that, but I have an intuitiveness with those kids that I think is more important than that.
Exactly. And I think that your work, you know, what speaks for us is not so much what we do. It's not so much what we do. It's who we are and how we do what we do. So basically, the proof of your pudding is in the children. How are the children being affected? Are the children showing progress? Are the children happier? Are the children affected in a positive way? Have you seen this?
Yeah, and the children are attracted to me like a magnet.
Then that's your validation.
Yeah.
Then
And
that's
I hear them.
Yeah.
I hear the children who don't speak.
that's your success.
Are you kidding?
No.
That's like, what is that?
Awesome.
I've never heard of that.
Awesome gift.
Different
I'm no kidding.
level. It took a long time for me to be able to hear them. But you have to listen very carefully.
Right.
And you have to be open to hearing it in a different way. It doesn't come out of their mouth. But
And the major thing as far as being on your path, you claimed it. You accepted, became aware of that little unique thing that you have to offer. So now, in order to, sometimes if we can't lick them, we have to join them. So maybe there will be an opportunity for you to give them what they need, some kind of little written paper or some kind of little statistical thing or something where you will be able to say, look, this is what we're doing. You know, this is what we're doing. Or to just stand in who you are so strongly that the kids will show them. They're not trying to disturb you on your path, are they? Is it just mother that's saying? Mothers are so interesting. I know I am one. They are so interesting. She does it for the love. But see, here we have a person who is in what we might call a mainstream kind of work, but she's approaching it from a totally different perspective and affecting. I mean, if you can hear the children, nobody else can.
I've actually gotten a couple of moms to believe me that their children are talking without words.
Well, see, that's progress. That's progress.
There's such a stigmatism right now about that. And, you know, so many kids are on drugs and stuff because of their behaviors or because they're not talking by the time they're 2. They're only 2, first of all, you know. But there's such a rigid standard that, and a lot of people don't realize the kids don't know that they're not talking. A lot of them,
They're just
they don't
being
understand why
prepared.
people don't hear them.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So we have someone like yourself that comes along with that unique, with that unique gift to turn that totally around. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Anyone else? Has anyone else found that on their path, they're meeting these obstacles or trying to get on the path?
That's not really what my experience is.
Right.
My thing is like, I know I'm on my path because I get a lot of validation from the universe that I'm on my path, but I just know it today. Like, I'm clueless about, tomorrow or 6 months from now. There's just so many different things that all have a great deal of appeal, but it's like I find that I almost get overwhelmed if I actually try to like think about what will it look like in 6 months, or what should I, what is it I'm supposed to be doing in 6 months? It's like, okay, well, I know I'm doing this today, and maybe I have some idea what I'm doing next week, but what's going to be in 6 months? Yeah, that's going to figure itself out. And it's weird. I feel like
You know
it's
what? You know why it's weird?
It's-
You know why it's weird? Because what she is trying to do is move into this new paradigm, into this new way of thinking, but using the same set of rules from the old paradigm. You know that thing where you're told, okay, decide, vision yourself what you're going to be looking like and what you're going to be doing in 2 years or 10 years. But do you not hear this kind of thing? If you really want to be on top of, this is the reasoning aspect. If you really want to be on top of it, you visualize and you see the picture, and people really feel that that's going into a higher level of consciousness. What it is doing is taking you away from it, actually, because on the highest level of consciousness, you're in the now. You're right where you are now. Would you agree with that, sister? The significance of who you are and what you do and how you affect the world is in the moment. It's in the moment. And when your consciousness and your thoughts are on what's going to happen, or what your business is going to look like, or your work is going to look like 6 months down the line, you're not in the moment. That means you're not present. That means that you're not where the input is, where the intensity is. You're not where the magic is, because you're somewhere out there in something that might not even happen. Who knows? 6 months, you might not even be embodied.
That really helps.
You really want to be in your present place, understanding that regardless, you're going to grow. You might not know exactly what it looks like in 6 months, but you know it's going to be different. How different? But it's going to be different because you're going to grow. You're going to continue to grow, Don't worry about that.
And you personally are accumulating a lot of knowledge. I mean, see, you almost need 2 business cards.
Yeah.
Who knows how you're going to integrate all that?
Well, I guess it's because I've been like staying in the now so much that I've like set myself up in a, well, I don't even use those words, but now I'm in the, you've seen what I've now acquired, and I had no idea how I.
Well, see, it's been working. You've acquired it because you've been practicing what you're saying. You've been in the now and you've been manifesting and practicing, so it's working.
And I have to stay in the now, or I will panic about what the hell am I doing. So if I stay right here now, then yeah, I'm good.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'd like to see the hands of those who know where they are and know what they're doing. The hands of those who are very sure where they are and know what they're doing.
Right now. Just right now.
Okay.
Right now.
In this moment, right? How many of you are so sure about where you are and who you are and what you're doing that you know what's going to happen tomorrow?
Isn't that wonderful?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, is there anybody that's disturbed about the fact that they don't exactly know what's going to happen tomorrow?
I actually am.
Are you?
Yeah.
Would you share with us why?
I don't know.
So we can learn.
It's like it's the unknown factor. Given what I do for a living, that's just really ironic, but I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago that the world would be how it is. So just that unknown factor. But I just have decided to live by God provides or something like that. But just not to really know, it's bothersome to me, but I can still function.
Well, I'm glad you can still provide what you have come here to provide. But when you say that not knowing, now, I have to admit, I understand. I have an understanding of what you're saying because it disturbs me that I don't know everything.
Well,
I mean, sometimes I get really disturbed by the fact that I don't know.
well, it's not knowing everything. It's like an ignorance is bliss. It's like a 1950s bucolic world, and I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in a way that I'll never feel like that. It's like, and I'd love to. That's what I mean. So, and I live in that, and I make it okay somehow, but I'm not at that level where that's like, oh, isn't it great? No.
Do you have fear?
I have fear, and I just take it with me, or I get too busy to remember,
Yeah.
or I get in the present moment. That's a good one.
But the excitedness of it is that you could
I get
meet someone
excited.
tomorrow or yesterday who
There's
gives you
yeah.
information and
So it's
changes
not all-
everything.
It's not all irksome, exactly. Like today. Today is a good, I didn't know this would happen today,
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
So it could be very good.
Right. And you were saying that you know where you are.
Sure.
What is your path? What do you do?
Spiritual psychology.
Ah, that's the combining of the intellectual with the feeling.
Not really. It's more a combination of the intuitive expressed through the intellectual.
The intuitive expressed through the intellectual. I like that. Wonderful. So do you find that you show any concern about not knowing what's going to happen in the future? Do you know? How do you handle that?
Very difficult. I'm aware that there is only now, only this moment, only this instant, only this microsecond, this event arising and occurring as we speak. Like everyone, I want to know what's at the top of the mountain. And have to be content with that, it's only this moment.
Yeah.
So, and I tried everything that there is known to man to find out. It's what I do for a living. But consciousness is a funny thing. It's so far expansive beyond intellect that to get into consciousness is to know everything simultaneously, and consequently you know nothing.
Mm-hmm. That supports that understanding that the more that you acquire, the more knowing that comes forth is the more that you realize that you know.
Well, I know that you and I and everyone in this room are connected, and if I could rise above the disconnectedness of everyone, then I would see that everything is connected. We're all in one spirit. We're all different modes of that spirit. But this is the murky three-dimensional reality that we're in. It's like walking around a lot of molasses, and consequently, it's hard to see that at a long distance. I can see it for you, and you, and you, and you, but I can't see it for me.
For yourself, right, exactly. You know, the interesting thing is that this game that we are engaged in this dimension is the great mystery. Jill will validate that in the Lakota tradition, this life is the great mystery. You know, we're not supposed to know. We're supposed to pursue knowing, is my feeling. It is for us to actively pursue the knowing, to actively go in and find, seek and find, and to be aware and appreciate and seek and find in the external. But this is about the mystery. It's about not knowing. Because as soon as you know, there's another level that you don't know. You understand? As soon as you come to one point where you, I got it. That I got it automatically shifts you to a higher level. And there you don't know. So it's always about progression and moving and unfolding. Just like a flower, unfolding. The trick is to look good, not you know, you don't even have to look like you know, just look good, not knowing. You know, just be okay, be able to shine your light. I remember one of the things that I had a difficult time with when I started on this path. I started consciously on this path April 1st, 1987. I know the date, almost the hour. And one of the difficulties that I had as I started that was the fact that I just really felt I didn't have anything to offer because I had to get that next bit of information. I wasn't good enough. You know, I had to get a little bit more, one more seminar, a couple more books, another degree, another, you know, I had to pursue and get a little bit more, and then maybe I'll be primed and ready to offer what I have. And what Spirit helped me to understand was that wherever you are, there's always the lesser and always the more. Wherever you are in your life, there's always someone that knows a little more and always someone that doesn't know as much. And that progression of support moves through a line where that person who knows a little bit more is kind enough and open enough to allow you to learn from them, and therefore you get a little bit more knowledge. But what about the one under you that doesn't know what you know? If you're not able to turn and support that person, then you actually are not taking advantage of an opportunity to do the work, even if you don't know what the work is. If you have any ways that you can be of support, and I say this because I'm sure that there's got to be a couple of you in here that are saying, well, yeah, but I need a little bit more experience, a little bit more something. And the point that I'm getting to, that I'm wanting to make with you, is this Mission Possible is about you always understanding that you have a whole lot to give. The whole basis of Mission Possible is you having the understanding that it doesn't matter where you are, you have much to offer, much to give, much to share, and to be all right with doing that, you know. So for those of you who are not quite sure about how they're doing on their path or what their path is about, then first thing that I do is you go find somebody that you can teach something. Not only will it give you validation, and oh my God, it's nothing like having some eyes look at you in that aha moment comes. And what happens for you when that aha moment comes? Talk about validation. Talk about feeling and understanding the breadth, the wide range of who you to see that look in someone's eyes is just miraculous. Anybody here know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Oh, you guys do?
Yes, I do. I think the first time it ever happened to me, I was actually teaching and feeling that I shouldn't be teaching. I'm out of my element. And I was teaching at Harvard Law School. I'd never been to college. So I didn't understand why I was teaching.
Interesting. You hear that, guys? Did you hear what
So
she
anything
said?
is possible.
Did you hear what she just said? She's teaching at Harvard
Law
School.
Having never been to college. And I was teaching negotiation. And all of a sudden I saw a student in the back, his eyes, all of a sudden went, so something fell away for him.
Yeah.
So he saw the possibilities. And what that did for me was, talk about validation. I thought, I don't need it at college. If I can get that from a student. And then I realized that so much of us in our society is we're ruled by fear.
Mm-hmm.
And fear being the shadow of the selves, then we can't go for anything new. We can't go for change. We can't go do something that's not acceptable because it's not acceptable. And we're not worthy. So if we can step into the light of the selves and go for the trust and welcome change and welcome something new, that helped me tremendously move through and not be afraid of
That's beautiful. Wow. I mean, I know a lot of people that would like to do a class at Harvard Law School and have all kind of degrees and still don't get the call. Would you care to go a little bit further in as to how you feel? How do you think you got there? I mean, what do you think was most instrumental? Was it that still small voice? Was it, what do you think was most instrumental in getting you there? It certainly wasn't.
I can answer that on several levels about what actually happened, but within me, what happened is if something comes along that's offered, I think it's a gift from spirit, and I can do it. Sure. I'll teach at Harvard Law School. Why not? Of course, getting on the plane and flying there, I have lots of, these doubts come up. But then I just remind myself, this is a gift. This is the next step up. And my motto has always been onward and upward. So this was an onward and upward. And I didn't fall on my face.
Any other examples of that kind of thing? Yes.
Can I contribute?
Please. Are you kidding?
One of the things that really opened my understanding of what life is about, human life, is the work of Joseph Campbell. As a writer, I got into reading about the hero's journey, and the basic idea of the hero's journey, and there's thousands and thousands of versions of this story, is that we begin in a known place and we journey into the unknown. And one of the most profound things that he said in a talk on television back in the 80s is that he said that really the hero's journey is a model for life itself, and that our home is spirit, and being born is the beginning of our hero's journey. So we're going from the known, which is spirit, into the unknown, and we can either embrace that journey as a great adventure and choose it, or we're forced into it out of fear. But we're all in that journey. So we can make a choice. Once we become conscious, we can make a choice. Do I want to live my life in fear, saying, no, I don't want this journey, or do we just hold on to the rails and say, let's go? And I think for me, because 2 years ago we made a big decision to, cash in some, money we'd saved up and everything, and we came to America. So that was a kind of a hero's journey for us. The beautiful thing he says is that, when you make up your mind to go on your hero's journey, when you transcend your fear, that life is with you. Life will gather around you and will support you.
Thank you. And that leads me to, I think I saw a hand over this way,
I was just going to say, on Jill's point, and also Dawn, excuse me, I'm sorry about my voice. Well, when I inherited the executive position in my business, I didn't think that I was going to be able to do it. I didn't feel that I had the background, the education, the experience to do it. But I was forced into the position, and somehow, I think intuitively, I just knew what to do. And I started to manage the business from a different perspective than we had been managed before. I started to see it as something that I could grow into, and that everyone could benefit, and we could all grow together. And just learning in the process and trusting that I could do it. I mean, there were incredible. There are days when it's just scary, but it's something that I have to do, and you just have to trust that you've been put in that position because you can.
Exactly. Or you wouldn't be there.
Right.
You know, unless you lied and cheated. But to actually go there in integrity, you wouldn't have been brought there. What you've said and what Alan said leads me to the thought of why is there this talk about a mission, a path? Why do you think that people are even conversing about that? Please.
Is it, I think more of the life purpose, more than getting somewhere as a mission.
So, okay, then let's go from that. You have the concept that there is a life purpose. What would give you the concept? Why would you think that there's a purpose? Please.
In all the mythology from the beginning of humanity, that didn't hear the children. It's all ingrained in us. One way or another, we all want to be a hero, creating a century. Some of us can do it, some of us can't. Embrace that, some of us can't. But it's in our core self, our spiritual.
Right, and I agree. And would you not think that since it is so ingrained in who we are, it's part of the game, it's part of what we are here about, would you not think that it would be automatic? I mean, why would one go through trauma trying to, I for years was like, oh God, I just gotta find out why I'm here. You know, I gotta be doing something, I gotta be here for a purpose. It just never occurred to me that the very fact that I existed was my purpose. I know that now, but it didn't occur to me then. You understand what I'm saying? We tend to look at things, again, from this reasoning state, and then we also tend to get on the bandwagon, so we're in this new age and consciousness, and that's one of the things that people talk about mission and purpose and life and all of that, so it becomes something that is external. I gotta find it. The reason I entitled this Mission Possible is because there is no impossible mission. And the very fact that you exist indicates that it's been laid out to a great extent. It's about how you live in your life and how you move in your life, how you accept yourself and how you accept your lessons and accept your experiences that provide you with the validation and the support to move on, to continue, to pursue the mystery. You see, there's nobody, like I said before, I reiterate, there's no one that is not on their path. But their awareness about their path is a different thing. Where you are in your awareness. If we just looked at this from this thing, and see, I'm kind of, because I was making all this notes and preparing this class, because I just knew I was going to have a room full of people that, where's my map? Where's my map? And I was like, okay, let me tell you how to find it. But you all know. That's why I say this has got to be discussion and sharing now, because there's nobody really in here that doesn't have some kind of, even you didn't raise your hand, but I had a conversation with you. You know, and whether I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm just letting you know, your hand should have been up, because honey, you know where you're going.
Somewhat, I don't feel like entirely now.
Right, because you don't have the each step laid out. But there's a calling within you. There's a calling within you. But let's break it down then. If you are looking for this mission, how do you decide that you're on the right path? What lets you know? How do you, gods and goddesses and masters and goddesses, how do you know you're on the right path?
For me, I was obsessed with the why. And I think as children, what's one of the major words that we learn? Why? And I came to a point where I had to answer the why, and I found something that made my life meaningful, to make my life make sense. And that became my purpose, because it made life worth living. It gave life a meaning, it gave me a meaning, it gave existence a meaning, and it gave a direction to my purpose.
Yeah. When people ask, I have clients that come to me, and they come to me they tell me that I'm coming to you because I need help in finding out why I'm here. Well, this woman had sex with this man, and 9 months later, well, that's why you know I'm in my path. Just a little joke. You guys are so serious. Get off that serious bit. This is not serious. This is spirit work. Spirit is fun. Possibly be as simplistic as Samantha has shared with us, that we do something and it fills us with joy and we want to do it over and over and over again. What would you do for nothing? What would you do and be okay not getting paid for it? That's your purpose. That's why you're here. What's fun? What makes you feel good? You know, this is a totally hedonistic, selfish kind of thing. You know, it really is. But we have gotten away from the truth of the fact that if we are, you know, Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. Powerful words. We forget that. We want to see love and light in the world, but we don't seem to want to have it in ourselves. Because we've got to take care of the business, and business requires that you, it's not about loving and laughing and stuff like that. Wrong. You look at your hobbies. All of these things that you've been, what were you doing as a kid? What games did you play? You know? What kind of things turned you on when you were a little kid? These are all little hints as to what you are unfolding with, because your gift has been expressing itself from day one. Maybe people didn't hear it, didn't see it, but it's been there. It's there.
Isn't it true that, you know, when you're ready, like an opportunity to step out in the world, and like with your law teaching job, I mean, opportunity, doesn't it just open up when you're ready?
It does. It is there.
And
Spirit, the universe is, oh my God, the universe so provides. The universe so provides. You know what the problem is? Fear. We back off. An opportunity is presented in some way to us, and we talk ourselves out of it. I can't do that.
Do you know why there's so many, what we put upon ourselves, so many, I should.
Mm-hmm.
I should be, or you should be, or so we're just bound up in this should, not, oh, could I do that? I don't know. Let's go find out.
Right. And you know why we're so bound up in shoulds? Because we're bound up in other folks' business. You know, if we were minding our own stores, then we wouldn't be concerned about what other people thought. We'd be too busy, our hands would be full, managing our own time, adjusting our own schedules. But we are often burdened by what other people fear and what other people will think. There's a movie, I haven't actually seen the whole movie, but I've seen it advertised, and I saw a little bit part of it, that comedian Jack Black.
Oh,
There's a movie called Envy, it's on HBO now. Okay. Him and his buddy, ne'er-do-wells, but they were dreamers. They sit, and from what I've gotten, they sit and they talk about what they're gonna do, and they come up with these inventions. And he, I don't know how he did it, but his invention was actually dissolving poop. He came up with this formula that, like your dog poops or whatever, and you're taking him for a walk, that you pour this little stuff on it, and it dissolves the poop. And he's all excited, and he goes to his friend like, you're not gonna be involved. I mean, that's ridiculous, you know? I mean, the first thing I would have thought is, oh my God, that's a gold mine. But for some reason, this guy didn't see it, and he tried everything he could do to talk Jack Black out of pursuing it. Well, the story goes where Jack Black becomes extraordinarily wealthy. Extraordinary, I mean, a multi-millionaire. And this guy is like beating his head up against the wall. You know, why wasn't I involved in that? Well, the truth of the matter was he was concerned about what people would think. He was concerned about what people would think about that kind of business, or, you know. And he was also fearful because he thought, well, what if it doesn't work?
Right.
You know?
The fear of failure.
The fear of failure. Yeah.
I think it's important when you are on your path, you mentioned trust, that you have to trust that what you're doing is the right thing and you're going to be taken care of. But you have to take it one step further. For me, I take it one step further with faith. And I don't want to call it blind faith or faith in an object or a deity, but faith as a power that what you're doing is right and it's going to work. And when you live in that faith, it wipes out the fear. Because you just know it's going to be okay. No matter what, I have faith it's going to be okay, and I'm living my integrity, I'm living my purpose. I'm getting all the go signs from the universe. Yeah, I'm going to have my little obstacles, but I'm going to be shown the way through. And if we can replace that fear with faith, it's really powerful. Trust that.
Exactly. Honestly. Fear is the absence of love. Fear is the absence of love. It's the other polarity of love. And in between fear and love, you have hate, envy, that, you know, goes along the scale. But fear is the absence of love. That should tell you something. But then again, let's look at fear. What is there to be afraid of? I mean, actually, when you really look at it, when you go to the core of the matter, when you are in fear, fear comes with the concern of annihilation. That's basically what fear is. That for some reason something is going to happen and then you will not exist. Whether you will not exist totally, or you will not exist as you are now, or you will not exist in the position you are now, but there's some feeling of the potential of annihilation, that you will not be. And the very interesting thing about that is, the truth of that is that when you no longer are, fear won't be a question. Success won't be a question. You'll be something else. You'll be dealing in another level and doing something else. So why do we engage in fear? We engage in fear because we live in a fear-based society, but because, and that's a heavy point, people, we live in a fear-based society. Everything in this society is based on fear, on one level or another. People, if you look at the advertisements, they're pushing to the side of fear. Your fear that you won't be liked, the fear that you won't have sex, the fear that this, the fear that this, all of these commercials are pushing that button. Fear this, buy this product, and we'll eliminate this fear. You know, I don't have to go into that. Just look at them. You know, I think you basically know.
Well, I have a suggestion.
Yes, yes.
Because I've worked with kids on this. In schools, I've said, watch the commercials on television. Report, that's your homework for the week. Report back to me, like saying to you, right now, whenever a commercial comes on, I push the mute button because they don't pay me to watch their fear-based ads.
Right.
I'm not going to be intimidated by that.
Exactly. And it's so true. There's so much brainwashing, for lack of a better term, or setting you up for other things. They're setting you up to take your money.
Yeah, how many people are on medications that they don't need because they see a commercial and they're like, oh my God, I'm depressed, I need Prozac.
Oh yeah. So now we understand, first and foremost, that we live in a fear-based society. How do we get around it? Well, we get around it by being who we are and understanding that who we are is not about to be, there's no annihilation in our existence. Because even if you're balanced in your thinking, let me back up. Talking about annihilation. What is the biggest fear that any of you could have? Fear of dying?
No. Dying is easy. Yes. Living is scary.
I have fear of suffering.
Fear of suffering?
Pain.
Most of you?
Homeless. Fear of being homeless.
Oh, fear of being homeless. That's interesting. That means that you know that you need to talk to you. Because what you did is just attracted that to you a little bit more. Okay.
Walk that way.
Cancel.
Yeah, cancel that. Yeah. Step back. Yeah, I know, and you spoke your truth. And then you wanted to renege on it.
Well, it's so loud in here.
But I understand. She wasn't serious. I understand what you're saying. But basically, most people are.
Wait, I want to qualify that. It could be fear of being homeless, meaning my home, the United States of America, is not what it was.
Okay.
That's cool. So,
Okay. No, I was honoring what you were saying anyway, sister. I'm just messing.
Yeah.
Because we all got them. I got my fears too. But we all have them. But we're talking about fears that stop you from doing what you need to do. Because, you know, if you actually look at the truth of the word courage, a person who has courage is not a person that is without fear. A person who has courage is a person who can stand in the face of fear and continue on anyway. You know. As a matter of fact, I just read in what was it? Was it Abraham's book? I just was reading the other night where it was saying that our mission as spirits and coming into bodies is to live a life, to be able to be in body without fear. And I thought to myself, oh my God, that's interesting. If that is part of our mission in coming a part of what we are to deal with, to improve or overcome whatever in life, as a spirit, it means that basically being in body is totally associated with being in a fear state. Please.
It has to be, because before you're born, your spirit hangs out of the edge of your head forever, and it turns an obstacle for itself. It's going to take a turn for its life. So most of us will be sitting there at the valley looking at Mount Everest and go, sure, I get it. You get born, and you're crawling up the side of the mountain, rocks are falling, and you go, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So fear is something that you engage, but you're right, I agree, courage is the element that you receive from the engagement of that, and the degree of courage that you're able to garner is the degree of success your spirit is able to afford.
Exactly.
Pushing against the what appears to be obstacles.
And is
There
that
won't be
not the way it was supposed to be? I mean, basically, I feel that, there's spirits fighting, waiting to come in. I mean, I talk to them, and I get that message all the time. I mean, they're standing in queue, waiting to come in. And I'm thinking to myself, do they understand what's going on here? I mean, have they got the message? And they're really wanting to come in? Well, yeah. How
They're
does
saying, are you?
Huh?
Is she listening to me?
Can I come in? Can I come in?
What are you talking about?
Well, the thing about it is that one wonders, well, if there are spirits that are so excited about coming in, what am I missing? Because this is seeming like this is the pits, or this is a challenge, or this is terrible, or this is disturbing, or whatever. And that made me, when I heard, especially when I got that from several spirits, I had to stop and think, well, what is it? And I remember one time in the depth of vulnerability and remorse and depression, I was crying. Why am I here? I can't. What? This was before I started on the path, and I was getting ready to go to work. It was before I started on the path because I was doing a 9 to 5. Let those days over. Anyway, I was getting into the shower, and when I got in the shower and started, the water's running over me, this voice said, "Can you feel the water?" And I said, "Yeah." "Well, I can't." That was one of the most powerful things that has ever been said to me. And right there in that moment, it turned me 360 degrees, because the spirit didn't have to say another word. I understood totally what was being told me. The reason that you are here is to feel, to experience, to do what you cannot do when you don't have a body. So, there has to be stuff going on here. There has to be the pro and con and the juxtapositions and all of that. There has to be this demonstration of emotion and feeling. There has to be. Otherwise, why come? You see, it is about the experience. It is about the experience. When we let go of these bodies, we're not going to have these kinds of experiences. Everything might be wonderful and laid out, but oh God, that's probably why I'm here, because I get bored so easily. And I think just a whole lot of goodness for too long would cause me to kind of shrivel. I need challenge. I need experience. I need difference. I need challenge.
So you got into this.
Huh? Pay no attention. I require challenge. Is there anybody here that doesn't?
I don't like it.
Letitia, okay, now, are you truly saying that you don't like challenge, or are you?
I've never responded to challenging when I was a child, and people would say, "Oh, I dare you to do this," and I'd say, "Fine." I mean, I just don't have that instinct.
because I am privy to, as others have been here are, in watching you unfold and unveil, and it's a beautiful thing. And we were telling you that earlier. I think with regard to you, you did not engage in those challenges because you were involved in much deeper and more profound challenges in your life. And those kinds of challenges were not for you to take up. You understand what I'm saying? In other words, you respond to challenge. You not only respond to challenge, you face it and you prevail. And I know that because I see you sitting there. You have prevailed through awesome challenge. And I honor you for that. So I beg to differ with you. I do not think that you could say that you do not face challenge, or you don't like challenge, or you can't deal with challenge, or you ignore challenge, because you have moved through and now you are shining because of the challenges. You see? Think on it. Think on it. You see what I'm saying, John? You know, we all have, you know, and we are who we are and where we are because of the challenges, because of the fears, because of the overcoming of fears, and because of this innate desire to express yourself in the most magnificent way. And we say that in terms like, I have found my path, or I am on my path, or I'm experiencing my mission. My mission is possible. Possible. It's such a beautiful thing. Challenge, even fear. It's a beautiful thing because there is nothing that is outside of the all. There is nothing that is outside of creation. Nothing. So when you align yourself with creation, when you align yourself with the truth of you, nothing can stop you because everything else will be moved aside. There is not a challenge that can take you because it is still under the auspices of creation. Am I being clear? You know? So, wherever you are, as far as your path or moving towards your path or whatever, know this. Whatever you're doing today, it's going to be different in 6 months. And from there, it's going to be even more extraordinarily different in 2 years. Some of you understand, some of you truly understand what is upon us. And I'm not talking about those old prophecies of death and destruction. Because as I said, there is nothing outside of creation. And the creation that I respond to is based in love. So even those dark places, those dark times, are opportunities to express that light. You know? So there is nothing, if you're centered in integrity and in the moment, there's nothing that has the power or has more power than you, because you're aligned with that which is all there is. And those little detours, those little pockets of darkness have been put there actually for our entertainment. And it is only fear that allows it to overcome us. You see?
Don't they say the best way to overcome your fear is to face it? If you have a phobia of high places, go and be in a high place. It disappears.
Yeah, I know. It hasn't worked for me so far.
You know those people scared of black widows?
Well, was that a fear or is that a concern?
I can sit here and tell you that alligators and I, we don't get along. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to be on healthy respect. Don't need to sit on their back.
Don't need to face that fear.
You know, I'm good. That poor lady in her backyard, good. I'm good.
Maybe it really is nothing to fear but fear itself, that feeling.
It is the
How do you
feeling,
blow
but
that
check
up?
it out. When you think about that feeling, when you feel that fear, for one thing, especially for those of you here, most of the time you're feeling somebody else's fear.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
what I'm.
You know?
And you're ingrained with, like you said earlier, as a child, or who you end up marrying, or who your parents were. And I'm seeing that more with my kids, raising them, and how I have to go to college, and you know, they're not into that. And now I'm getting them the other perspective, do what you want to do, you know, but it's from when you're crawling out of the womb. It's from that. You're getting it from other people.
Right. Not only are you getting it from other people and and just the energy, because this is a fear-based society, but I'm talking about your empathic abilities. Each and every one of you is attuned. You feel, and you feel beyond yourself. You feel others. Please.
I've heard that they say fear stands for false expectations appearing real.
Yes, exactly. And that is truth. And that is truth.
And have you ever realized, felt that something that you would normally be totally afraid of, that when you're absolutely in the situation, you have no fear, you're dealing with it. So,
That's true.
fear is only about something that hasn't happened and isn't real.
Exactly. And you are picking up, literally, energetically, picking up someone else's fear.
Or even tribal. Even what was given to you from your early education.
Exactly.
And your experience at the doctors.
Exactly. So we can see all of these places that this energy, this block, because fear is actually a block in the flow of energy. We can see that and all the different places that it comes from. But let's talk about what do we do with it. I feel like fear is a basic human emotion. It's certainly been played to death in our society. But it evidently exists. I don't think that there's anything that exists that is not an opportunity for one to get stronger. So it exists for a reason. So if it exists for a reason, then maybe when one is faced with fear, one is encountering it, you can deal with, well, why is that there in the first place? I mean, just recognizing why it would be there would be enough to remove it, to let it go. It's like trying to think of an example.
Well, what happens if just being in our bodies, because we're part of the planet and fear is in all animals? What happens if it's part of the lesson as spirits to be able to have to encounter that fear in order to transcend it?
Exactly. That's what I was just saying. That's what we said before. Exactly that. And so it's like, I strongly understand that it's not what happens to you, it's how you view it in life, in your experiences. Because what they say, one man's poison is another man's lunch or whatever. I never did get the last half of that. Another man's cocktail or something like that, you know. But it's like, there are things that people go through and they're sharing them with me, and they're just like, you know, and I'm looking at, what's the biggie? You know, it's the way they're looking at it. You know, it's not what happens to you, it's the way that you see it. So that there are times when there might be, for other people, a fearful circumstance. But if you're looking from a different perspective, for one thing, if you're looking and you say, well, okay, this is put before me for me to get some information and have an opportunity here, then you're not exactly gauging in fright behavior. You're facing it because you're looking at it. But I think the whole point, and I don't want to get off of fear, but the whole point that I wanted to drive home is the fact that fear is a human emotion, that there are opportunities that come along with this feeling of fear, because a lot of times it means that you're getting ready to stretch yourself, and you just move through it, as we talked about with courage. And it also, thank you, Spirit, another thing that just came to my mind, it also gives you an opportunity to be of service. One of the reasons why we are such a blessing to humanity is because there is so much fear. And we have a different way of looking at it. And just our presence, our understanding, our walking our path in an exemplary way can help others to overcome it. As that book said, it's about us understanding how to be in body without fear. You know, that can be our overall mission. I have no idea what time it is. Okay. Oh, I know what I was going to say something, and I get a little bit more truth going here. Do you think that this path is for yourself or for others?
Is there any difference?
Okay.
Is there any difference between me and everybody else? I mean, it's
good.
They're one and the same. What's good for me is good for everybody. What's good for everybody is good for me. It's us.
Good. Wonderful, wonderful. But when we look at it from an individual perspective with regard to how we can enhance ourselves, we understand right away that our mission is for us. The unique service that you do in that mission is service for others. But we have come here to provide that service as a service to ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? As a service to our spirit, we have come here to provide this service. But actually, it's a very selfish thing. I know people, I had a discussion about Mother Teresa, and we were talking about people who had not even an inch of self-serving in their bodies, and everything was done for the other people and all of that and everything, and we started talking about who were the examples of that, and the name Mother Teresa came up, and I said, I beg to differ. Woman was very selfish, very selfish. You see, she derived great pleasure out of serving. You see, she derived great pleasure. That's why she is so renowned now. Because if she was just an everyday person that did some good deeds every once in a while, there's a lot of us on the planet. But she derived great pleasure. That's how a woman could be celibate. Because basically her energy was being provided, that sensuality, that feeling part of her was being honored when she did service. She got a kick out of it. She loved helping people. And she'd have done it, the only way they'd have stopped her from doing it was to knock her out. You know? So basically, even though she was doing it for others, there was this beautiful balance within her where she honored self. She honored self. And in doing so, was able to honor others, and also in doing so was able to represent for others how to honor self, because those people that she was interacting with had no consciousness of self. They were so downtrodden, so downtrodden. So she was able to exemplify what faith and standing in who you are, standing in your truth, and doing your service represents. She was very selfish. Bless her. Bless her. Yes, sister.
I have a question for everybody, something that occurs for me when I'm doing what's on my path and when I'm in my integrity, and it comes through me and energizes me and makes me feel empowered. If it's not coming from my path and it's coming from a lower place, then it comes from me and I feel drained.
Mm-hmm.
Does that occur for anybody else?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Because you're not connecting. You're not allowing the flow. It's all coming through you. One of the, when I first started, it was called to do healing work. I remember I was working on a client one day, and for some reason, I disconnected. I didn't disconnect, I didn't draw, because you pull the energy up from the earth. And I wasn't drawing it, I was working hard on this woman, and everything was coming through me, from me. And when I finished, I was in bed for 2 days. And it didn't hit me until later in the first day of what had happened. It was such an awesome lesson for me. I got so involved in what I was doing, I forgot that I was in partnership with the other aspects of myself ad infinitum, that I basically had disconnected from the source. And that happens for many reasons, but that's to answer your question, that's what it is. You disconnect. And there must always be that flow going, always allowing that flow. We are in healing work, we are not supposed to use our own energy. All of you know that. Is anybody that thinks differently? Don't use our own energy. That's for us. That's our personal thing, you know. We utilize and connect with the source, and we connect with the source at all times in everything that we're doing, and ever disconnecting from the source. It's like a lot of people in my manifestation work, a lot of people tell me, well, that hasn't happened for me. And there's a lot of things that I can say, but one thing that I sometimes feel the need to ask them is, did you disconnect from the source? Are you listening? Are you expecting guidance? Are you expecting? And usually the answer is no. You know, it never happened, so I just was kind of, so okay, so you're praying, but you blocked all the ways that your prayer can be answered, you know? It's like, Spirit does not step away from us. It's not possible. Do you not agree in your work? No, I know you were. I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you. I'm just asking.
I was just thinking that what she was saying was actually, we're not non-dimensional individuals. That spirit is multifaceted. So you can have one thing, two things, three things working perfectly in you, flowing through effortlessly. No fear there whatsoever. Right. Fear comes where like a dragon on here. Mm-hmm. That's the part that comes from you as opposed to through you. So you can channeling, or you can have hell at work, and your personal life is absolutely flawless. That's working fine. You won't notice that. It's a part that is going on, and that comes from here, like you said, solar plexus, which is the seat of fear, where the heart is the seat of higher emotion. This comes from the jungle, basically running from the saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah, the fighter, yeah.
And this comes from, from the higher part. But if you can notice that, if you can see that, if you can see what's working for you and what's coming through, beautifully and perfectly like an instrument, then you can bring that kind of dynamic into the part that's not working.
Yes, exactly.
And you can trust it.
Mm-hmm. You can trust it. Interesting. Well, is there, for those of you who, I want everybody to make some kind of comment or share or talk. Is there any questions that you might have with regard to? I wasn't ignoring you, but I got a feeling that maybe I should have.
No, sister, my question is, do you know the time?
No.
Let me inform you, it is after 6.
Oh my God.
That was
I
when
thought-
we went to time early.
Okay, when you did this, I thought you were saying there's
we were
plenty
done.
more time. Oh. I'm like,
what you wanted to hear.
well, she did. Okay.
Jill would get this cue, okay? It's a film thing.
Okay. Well, good. Any last questions or last comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're all very glad.
Did anybody get any help? It's my mission to make sure that when in everything that I do, that there's benefit. So, thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Everybody keep your seats for a second.